Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 8th of June. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director of Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is the weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we have Metcash, Evolution Mining, Investigator Resources, Electro-Optic Systems and Bannerman Resources. So if you have a request, please send it through. Make sure you are getting our free newsletter, but my best stock tips come out every Tuesday in the Dynamic Investor Report. So make sure you're getting that report. But if you do enjoy these videos, we'd love you to share them on social media or even leave us a review. Our main business is on the portfolio management side. So if you'd like to have a broking account with me and have me personally guide you, then please let me know. And all the advice here is general only. So we have Metcash here. Obviously it's on the way down, but if we move to a weekly chart, what's become clear is that it was forming this sort of big head and shoulders topping pattern. And most recently we could see it broke under. We had the neckline here and it broke under that. And there's a bit of volume on the way down. So yeah, basically risk is to the downside quite clearly. If you're looking for a target, you could sort of measure that and sort of extend it there. Doesn't mean that will necessarily happen, but if we get our fib tool and just do that and then drag it down, you end up with a target sort of around sort of 270, 275. Evolution, so we'll go back to the daily chart. We could see this sort of trend here that's been good to trade. I mean, most recently it went up a bit vertically here, so naturally it was going to consolidate. So it pulled back, it came back to what looked like support. So sort of bounced off that support, and this move here a couple of days ago was quite bullish, the way it opened quite low and finished higher up, but unfortunately the last 2 days is looking pretty negative. So sort of a big sell-off here, and then yesterday it couldn't get back into the upper part of that range. So looking a bit on edge here. I think that you'd have to look at this support level here, you know, even call it 340 as your nearby stop level. IVR, so you know, at first glance we could see this massive sort of breakout on volume, so you know, sort of gapping up and running on volume would have been a buy. Good volume on the way up. It's now consolidating and we could see volume is lower on the way down, which is a positive. I think the only negative though is that it's pulled back fairly deeply. It would have been nicer to have seen a flatter correction here. So I think if you were to get another sort of big volume move, then that would be another buy signal, but you've just got all these trapped sellers up here. So it just might make it hard going, and of course sort of longer term you've got all these higher price points as well. Okay, EOS, so this is one that we looked at back in the Dynamic Investor only about a month ago. So we're looking at you know, this sort of big base build and the breakout from the base, and yeah, sort of breakout, good volume, did pull back on lower volume back into the range, but then it sort of kicked on again on good volume, and now it's easing back on top of support here on lower volume. So doing all the right things. I think it looks like a buy here. You can run your tight stop under the breakout, but if this is a big base and it's breaking out of a base, you can get some decent upside from here. Okay, and finally Bannerman, sort of that's the weekly chart, been coming back quite a bit, but look, most recently we've got what looks like a false break. So, you know, big sort of dump down under support, but then it ripped higher the day after back into the range. So that's a possible reversal and you know, it's a positive sign. So it's near the top of the range here. Volume's been good on the way up. basically I think it's looking good here, because if you then get the upside break from this range, then you could get a decent rally. So I'd be looking out for the upside break as the buy signal. Okay, well that's all for this week. As always, if you have a request, send it through and we'll try to include it next Thursday.